We joked earlier that this is like a morning show.
I know, need a cup of coffee.
And I got my stepdad a vest, and he was like, these remind me of like the 70s. They're so awesome. Also, I need a water.
Oh, no. You did a good job of not coughing when.
Did you see my face?
Yeah,
Like,
I was
started
like, yes,
like,
I was like.
it was like a cartoon character.
I'm Brad Hiranaga. I'm the Chief Brand Officer for Cotopaxi, which is a outdoor gear and apparel company based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Pretty new company.
Yeah.
But it's got a purpose of moving people to do good and a really big mission around alleviating extreme poverty.
And some really great design.
Very fun design, yeah, especially if you like colors. We have like a really wide palette of packs and coats and fleeces and all sorts of things. And so it's, the outdoor industry is amazing with amazing brands. And so it's fun to come in there and really shake it up with different distinct products that are really bold and different, but with a mission at its core of doing something really, really good, which is why a lot of us have come to work there.
Tell me, what time does the alarm go off in the morning?
If I'm being honest, for me, probably close to 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I've got a couple kids, and so during the year they're up for school, and there's like lots of activity that's happening in the house. And so I stay up fairly late, so it's easier. I could sleep in really late, but that's about time during the week that I usually get up.
And what's like the first thing you do?
I usually get up and take my dog outside because he needs to go out. So that's kind of the first way to start the morning. And if he's already up and out, then I will probably check my phone.
How long do you think in minutes between the moment that you wake up and then you like check your phone?
This is going deeply embarrassing. I would say probably a couple minutes just to see if there's anything like urgent that I need to. And I don't like actually admitting that. I feel like it shouldn't even be in the same room, but it's probably a couple minutes before I get up and check it for sure.
So then what happens next? Do you spend some time at home? Do you rush right out? Do you exercise?
Well, so Cotopaxi is 100% committed to remote work, which is one of the big appealing things for me. I wanted to be part of that brand, but my kids weren't coming into high school, so it's hard for me to leave the cities. So we all work remotely. And the executive team, in fact, a couple of folks are down in Utah, but everyone else there's a guy in Seattle, there's a woman who works in New York, another woman who works actually in Dallas. So we're all kind of across the country. So the time zones are all different. So there's a little more flexibility that you have to kind of figure out and almost kind of force that structure to happen. So I work out of my house most of the time when I'm in town. So I get up and I will start to like figure out how I get into a routine of getting the kids ready and going in the morning. And then there's a couple different coffee shops by my place. And so when it's not freezing Minnesota winter, I'll jump on my bike or walk the dog up to one of those places and grab a coffee. And then I usually come back and start my meetings after that.
Okay, might be the most important question I ask you. What kind of dog and what is its name?
His name's Howie, and he is a English Doodle. He's about 50 pounds. He was supposed to be like 25, so he's doubled in size. Very sweet doodle, like they all are. Really deep eyes, and he's a little bit nervous. But once he comes out of his shell, he's very sweet.
So now you're at work. Give me one word that would describe your calendar.
I would say it's dynamic. The company I work at is still a smaller kind of moving from startup and scaling into a bigger business, and so we have some processes and things that are in place. So I'd say there's a few meetings that are consistent, but there's a lot of fluidity, and I had to get used to that. That was a shift for me to be like, oh, okay, I got to take the day as it comes a little more than kind of knowing I'm going to be locked into meetings from the time I log on to the time I log off.
And how do you manage that? Do you put buffers around things? Do you block off certain parts of the day?
Yeah, I mean, we have no meeting hour zones that I think everyone tries to hold accountable to, but those are sometimes difficult. I try to block a couple things off here and there for myself, just so that I have some creative time to think, or if I want to go to like take a exercise class or something, that I've got those moments I can step away. And I do feel like remote work and virtual work has created a lot more opportunities for meetings just because it's easy to jump on.
So, Brad, on those days where inspiration's feeling like it's waning a little bit and you need to zhuzh your creativity, how do you do that?
I would say, like, for me, it's really important to have connections with other people that I get creative inspiration from. So either through past colleagues or agencies or people I work with, the conversations where I just kind of almost will have just a one-on-one discussion about what someone's working on gives me a ton of ideas. It gives me a ton of inspiration. So I think finding those pauses for me is really good. I mean, people have such great ideas and they're working on such interesting things.
How do you do that when you can't just like get up and walk down the hall and be like, hey, let's grab a coffee or.
Yeah. I mean, I have to be intentional. So some of it's just like setting times up where we can have time to meet. And I'm fortunate that I've worked, for a long time in an industry where I know a lot of people and I've built friendships with like really great, creative people, strategic people who know culture really well. And so a lot of those are more friendships than they are even like work relationships. So it's easy to kind of pick up the phone and call or shoot a text or just set something up to be able to do that. And there's so much really great stuff that's out there too. I mean, I don't really just think of marketing as in the industry sense. Like I consume a lot of entertainment and culture, and I can pretend like, oh, I'm watching movies for my job. But like there's a lot of inspiration by just taking in what's going on as well, that I think creativity can be applied to solving problems in our jobs every day.
Last question.
Yeah.
How do you build time in your schedule for building relationship with important stakeholders and like kind of the coalitions that you need to get stuff done?
Yeah, I mean, remotely, it's very much being very intentional about the people that I know. I usually set up each week and saying there's 3 things this week I need to get done, or there's 3 big priorities, and I try to stick to that. And you can back that out and say, well, the 3 things for the month, or the 3 things for the quarter. But I try to navigate around that. There's folks that obviously are crucial to like a marketer to get the work done. So CFO, the head of sales, my boss is the CEO. So those conversations happen pretty regularly. I make time for those things and really carve them out. And then it's also really important for folks that are on my team that I don't see every day in person to have those discussions where we're being really transparent, sharing what's going on, keeping connected to the strategies. We have a monthly meeting with our team, with our whole brand team, that is very critical, especially because we are remote. And so there's conversations that need to happen there, like to keep people in line with what's happening and understanding what's going on. And so those discussions and where they can give feedback to is probably one of the most important ones that we have. And then I will say, time in person, I don't think I appreciate it as much. Now we spent about a week in Utah together, and that time is like super productive because it's not only just talking about work, it's like building those kind of bonds and those types of relationships. And so making the time for that and going into those weeks and being very intentional about that is also really important.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great tips.
Oh, thank you.
And I want to see pictures of the dog.
For sure. Thank you.